Today I wanted to talk about the concept of a free blowing horn. Many times when people come into the shop, they're asking for a free blowing horn. They want something that's not hard to move their air through. This happens a lot, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about what a free blowing horn is and why you don't necessarily need to be looking for the horn that is the most free blowing. So I have two horns with me today. I have a Paxman 27M and I have a Dieter Otto 180K-JN. I picked these two horns to compare, not because they're at similar price points or because people cross-shop them often, but I wanted to compare them because the way they blow is very, very different. The Dieter Otto is what I would call a very free-blowing horn. When you pick it up and you blow air through it, especially at loud dynamics, you don't feel that much resistance. While on the Paxman 27, you feel a lot more resistance when you try to play loud. Frankly, the Paxman 27 feels far more like my Metlin and Rikokun Innovation Triple, both of which you feel a lot of resistance if you try to dump a lot of air into the horn. Now, if one horn is easier to get your air through and one provides more resistance, it seems like your choice should be obvious, right? You should go for the horn that is more free blowing. But that's not necessarily the case. Number one, just because a horn allows you to put more air through doesn't mean that you should. For example, in the Mahler 5 excerpt I started off this video with, it can be very, very easy to overblow. On both horns, the sound was nasty and overblown, but more so on the Dieter Otto because frankly, the Dieter Otto provided a lot less resistance to my air when I was overblowing it. The Paxman provided a lot more resistance and wouldn't let me overblow it quite as much. A lot of times when I hear people say that they want a free blowing horn and then I hear them play, what I hear is an overblown sound with someone who's just trying to play with too much air instead of using the correct amount of air. This is why I always recommend that you stick with the evaluation of sound when you are testing out horns. Because a lot of times that horn that is more resistant is gonna give you a better sound. And if you feel like you're fighting the horn and blowing against the wall, the solution to that is practicing using the correct amount of air. Something a very influential horn teacher once told me that has stuck with me is that horn playing should be easy. It should be easy. If you find yourself blowing hard and working really hard at any one point in time, you need to, especially in the practice session, you need to step back and reevaluate how you are playing. What do I really mean by this? I can use a lower amount of air, get a better sound on the Dieter Otto, and still sound just as loud. The same thing applies on the Paxman 27. So in using the right amount of air, I can get a much better, much more stable sound while still maintaining a fortissimo. over the overblown part where it was ugly and nasty. Now, many of you watching this video may be thinking to yourselves, well, duh, you shouldn't overblow your horn. It shouldn't sound nasty. But I'm making this video because I see it happen a lot. And I mean a lot. If you go by feel to make a loud sound, you're not going to be as successful, because when you go by feel to make a loud sound, a lot of times loud will ring in your head as a lot of energy and a lot of work. Playing really loud is more about efficiency, not energy and air. And when you think about efficiency and you think about tone, especially when you're testing out instruments, the difference between a free-blowing horn and a more resistant horn doesn't become a huge factor. Now let's talk about the horns themselves. This video has so far been an argument for why more resistant horns shouldn't be dismissed, but less resistant horns shouldn't be dismissed either. The Dieter Otto 180K-JN. It's a very easy to play horn, very, very responsive. Has a nickel silver lead pipe, a structure with not many long solder joints. It's more braced off. And the sound has a lot of high harmonics in it, so it's going to be pretty easy to cut through an ensemble. The Paxman 27, in my opinion, has a more complex sound with more of the harmonic series in there. Gold press lead pipe, also a more braced off structure. Although it is a Paxman, it doesn't really feel or sound like the Model 20. If you're looking for a horn that's shaped like a traditional Geyer, but sounds like the Model 20, I would look elsewhere. This Model 27M does have the same tapers as the 20M, but this has a more traditional Chicago type sound. This, I would say, is one of the hidden gems in our shop. It is a horn that I would not hesitate to play myself. And oftentimes it is dismissed by people because when they first pick it up, they feel that it's a little bit more resistant. But it still has the ability to really cut through an ensemble, as well as a really, really sweet, soft sound. Just to be clear, I'm not saying that you should choose more resistant horns over more free-blowing horns or more free-blowing horns over more resistant horns. What I'm trying to say is that resistance should not be your first criteria when choosing a horn. Sound, tone, sound, always. Right now, as of the release of this video, we have both the Paxman 27M and the Dieter Otto 180K-JN in stock. Both are great horns. They're very different horns, but you need to try them yourself and see which one fits you better. Thank you for joining me today. Please tell me down in the comments which horn you like the sound of better, the Dieter Otto 180K-JN or the Paxman 27M. Until next time, happy practicing.